Hello everyone, my name is Benjamin Valdez and I'm a senior at Central Washington University. Before I begin my presentation, I want to wish all of you well during this time. The COVID-19 pandemic is causing a lot of fear throughout communities across the country, and I hope that you and your families are staying safe during this time. Before the recognition of the current pandemic, I reflected on other issues throughout communities across the country to determine a focus for my policy analysis. The opiate crisis has been a significantly damaging epidemic that has resulted in devastation to many communities throughout the country. A solution has been present for a substantial amount of time and caters to harm reduction and relapse prevention. It is called medication-assisted treatment. In this analysis, I explore the successes and failures of current policy surrounding medication-assisted treatment and assess whether this preventative measure is a viable solution or a new epidemic. I am a substance use disorder professional, and I've been practicing in the field of addiction treatment for the last 4 years. I'm originally from Wenatchee, Washington, and I thought I wanted to pursue a degree in agriculture until I developed a passion for helping the addicted population. I began my collegiate career through Wenatchee Valley College in 2015, where I majored in chemical dependency studies. I graduated with honors from Wenatchee Valley College in June of 2017, and I began an internship to become a state certified counselor. While working as an intern, I continued to advance my education through Wenatchee Valley College and eventually Central Washington University. I graduated with an Associates of Arts and Sciences in 2018, and I'll be expected to graduate from Central Washington University in June of 2020 with a double major in Psychology and Law and Justice. I completed my internship in 2019 and passed my board exam that same year. I became certified as a substance use disorder professional, and I relocated to the Seattle, Washington area so I could advance my career in addiction treatment. Aside from my passion for helping the addicted population, I truly enjoy community outreach, and I'm actively involved in family, community, and adolescent education about substance use disorder with emphasis on abstinence-based treatment. I'm an advocate for agriculture, and I truly enjoy visiting my family in Wenatchee, Washington, and helping to work on our farm. Throughout my collegiate career, I have been on the Dean's List for 11 consecutive quarters, and I'm an active member of the National Honor Society. After I complete my undergraduate degree through Central Washington University, I will begin graduate school through Arizona State University, where I'll major in forensic psychology with the intention of working as a police consultant with emphasis on victim advocacy and in a legal setting. Throughout my studies and career, the use of medication-assisted treatment has been a focus of many interactions I have had with patients and providers. My curiosity and desire to learn resulted in me researching to understand the policies surrounding the effectiveness of medication when treating the addicted population. The opiate epidemic is a crisis impacting the United States. Aside from the damaging effects on the environment, American citizens struggle with understanding and implementing steps to intervene on opiate addiction. The Substance Use Disorder Prevention that promotes opioid recovery and treatment for patients and communities Act, also known as SUPPORT, of 2018 allows and encourages physical health providers to obtain credentialing to prescribe medication as harm reduction practices. Medication-assisted treatment, also known as MAT, services are becoming increasingly popular with addressing the opiate epidemic. The SUPPORT Act encourages physical health providers and behavioral health providers to provide care for patients in attempts to reduce relapse and increase quality of life with the opiate addicted population. There are several different medications that are utilized for medication-assisted treatment. Among the most popular are Suboxone, Methadone, Subutex, and Naltrexone. What these medications do is they bind to the receptor sites in the brain that are particularly impacted by opiate use. In order to prescribe this medication, physical health providers are required to obtain specific credentialing through a completion of an 8-hour training course. The SUPPORT Act of 2018 allows physical health providers to prescribe medication for addiction treatment. In conjunction with MAT services, the SUPPORT Act also mandates that behavioral health treatment needs to be provided as a part of the treatment program. The common misconceptions among the population are the effectiveness of the program, the dependence experienced by patients receiving the medication, the withdrawal-related effects when the medication is no longer being administered, and the societal impact MAT services could potentially have on successes and failures of the addicted population. I found through my research on the Support Act of 2018 that it is a legislative policy implemented on a federal level in the government. The Support Act of 2018 is not mandatory, but provides responsibility to physical health providers to prescribe medication. What this means is physical health providers are not required to obtain that credential, but should they have the credential, they need to prescribe the medication should it be appropriate. The Support Act of 2018 is funded by the federal government, and a variety of insurance types support MAT services for patients. Most importantly, insurance types that pertain to lower income are accepted under this act. The objectives of the Support Act of 2018 is harm reduction and engagement of physical health providers with addressing opiate addiction. This is important in conjunction with the substance use disorder providers. It's not solely physical health providers that are addressing this addiction, but they are working with substance use professionals. Currently, MAT is debated between abstinence-based treatment programs and the dependence associated with medication. The biggest question is, does the individual truly learn how to cope with their addiction if they are continuing to take medication to manage the symptoms? As part of my research on the Support Act of 2018, I interviewed two individuals that are professionals in the field of addiction treatment. The first individual I interviewed gave me insight on structural challenges in treatment programs and the oversight of providers in terms of compliance standards. The second individual that I interviewed was a professional in withdrawal management services, and this individual gave me insight on the withdrawal-related concerns surrounding individuals attempting to discontinue MAT services. This person also provided information surrounding the abuse of MAT services medication. Certain medication on MAT services, when taken in excess, can give euphoric effects, and as a result, there are withdrawal consequences because of that action. There were several different types of evidence that I have collected that support the successes and failures of the Support Act of 2018. From the interviews that I have conducted, I found that many things are highlighted. MAT services need to be in conjunction with behavioral health treatment. Just receiving medication alone will not be sufficient in achieving success. Another aspect is the withdrawal-related effects from this medication. Some people want to be tapered off this medication after being on it for a substantial amount of time, and during the taper down process, they receive some withdrawal-related effects that are pretty significant and rival those of regular opiate withdrawal. Certain programs that are 12-step based programs are supportive when treating addiction and supporting MAT services medications, but abstinence-based support groups such as NA and AA may not be as supportive. Another study that I have found looked at the co-occurring disorders that are common with individuals struggling with addiction. The main thing out of this study was that certain medication that does have these euphoric effects, like Suboxone or Methadone, can interfere with the other disorders that are quite common with the addicted population. After completing my research on the Support Act of 2018, I found that it is sufficient regarding actions needed to address this epidemic. However, there are revisions that do need to be made and are suggested in order to increase the effectiveness of the program. This is mainly towards compliance standards. There are no set compliance standards as to when an individual should be tapered off of that medication or what would constitute them to be bumped up in a level of care. What that means is making sure that the medications are taken as prescribed and appropriately, but also that all areas of the whole person are being taken care of so that way eventually they can be off of the medication completely. The following are related policies that pertain to the opiate crisis, and many of them cater to harm reduction and relapse prevention practices. The most important is the Support Act of 2018, which really talks about the conjunction and connection of physical health providers with substance use disorder providers in order to treat the whole person more effectively. In conclusion, the opioid epidemic is a crisis throughout the country. Implementing MAT services is successful but cannot be effective as the sole purpose of treatment. Minimal compliance standards, overwhelming caseloads of physical health providers, and leniency with noncompliance encourages dependence on medication for successful abstinence. Communication between physical health providers and behavioral health providers must improve to determine true effectiveness of MAT services.